Schoolnet usage in Durham Public Schools, quantitative and qualitative findings. DPS media specialists, technology facilitators, and instructional facilitators were all surveyed by the home-based team in order to help determine our current Schoolnet usage. The survey of DPS media tech and instructional facilitators yielded 43 responses, 56% from elementary, 19% at the middle school level, 21% from high, and 5% from our secondary schools. They were asked to identify if staff members were using Schoolnet. 65% indicated yes, whereas 35% of those who answered responded with no. Those who responded yes were to estimate a percentage of how much their school staff is currently using Schoolnet. We got a variety of answers based on how much exposure and experience that staff has had thus far in Schoolnet and how much training has been offered at the school. These folks were also to indicate how Schoolnet is currently being used at their school, and they could mark any of the options that applied to their staff members. 45% are using it for assessment creation, 23% are using it for resources, 14% are using it for lesson planning, as well as for assessment administration, whereas 4% are using it for other reasons. Those who were surveyed were also asked to identify several staff members who are using Schoolnet the most at their schools. And those identified Schoolnet users were then interviewed about their use of Schoolnet. When asked, how do you use Schoolnet with students and or colleagues, Timothy Belton, a 5th grade teacher at R.N. Harris, indicated, Schoolnet is used by colleagues at R.N. Harris to generate assessments for specific Common Core State Standard objectives that are not mastered by students. Teachers are able to focus on specific objectives during remediation, enrichment, and acceleration groups by using Schoolnet's easy-to-use interface. Michael Collins, 3rd grade teacher at Bethesda, has indicated that our team uses Schoolnet to create standard-specific classroom assessments. These assessments give us valuable data that we can use to drive our instruction and create small remediation groups. Marjorie Wilson, instructional facilitator at Southwest, indicated, I have only used the assessment portion. I have used the question bank to create pre-assessments for various grade levels. I've encouraged teachers to investigate this resource as well as to create customized, targeted practice and assessments. These folks were also asked, based on your experience, would you recommend that the district adopt Schoolnet? Why or why not? Timothy Belton of R.N. Harris says yes. I would highly recommend the adoption of Schoolnet. Schoolnet offers teachers easy accessibility to generate assessments that can be administered paper-based or online. Schoolnet affords teachers the ability to create assessments that coincide with state demands for rigorous assessments. These assessments can easily be administered, and the data retrieved can be used for data-driven instruction that creates flexible groupings. Michael Collins, 3rd grade teacher at Bethesda, says yes, for the purpose of easily creating Common Core standard-specific assessments that can be shared as common assessments along grade levels within a school or the entire district. Marjorie Wilson indicates, I have a very limited view of what Schoolnet has to offer, but I am excited to learn about all of its features. The ease of use of one of the options that I have explored makes me feel the overall system will be an invaluable resource for our teachers. It would allow them to customize their instruction and target specific standards. We also interviewed Carrie Powell on Google Hangout, and she has some more to tell us about her experience and that of her staff members.
My name is Carrie Powell. I'm an elementary school teacher at Mangum up in Bahama, and my staff is using it currently. There are just a few members of our staff who are using it. We're piloting it for the rest of our staff. So our IF and our media tech came to a few of us and asked, would we use it? So again, like the majority of the other elementary school teachers, we are using it mostly for assessment creation, which has been really helpful. But we also use it for assignment pieces, for differentiation purposes. I use it with my class online, and that's been wonderful because it connects right to gradebook. so I can get their information input into their grades right away, which has been really great, and then we can work on goal setting together. So it's been really helpful as far as quick communication between the assessment and the teacher, because I'm getting that, like, what they know and what they don't really quickly. But then I'm also able to give my students feedback quickly, which is really helpful because we can move on right that day to work on the things that they are weakest on and to praise the things that they're strong with. So we have a second grade teacher using it, we have a third, fourth, and then the entire fifth grade team is currently using it. And we're slowly getting students' usernames and passwords out so they can use it online, but we make the assessment or the assignment online, we print it out, and we're giving it to them by hand currently. But as more students are getting their username and password information, we're starting to cut back on the amount of paper copies we're making and really getting good use of Schoolnet right now. So as soon as we have Gradebook up and running, I think it'll be really helpful and really useful because it cuts back on grading time significantly, which is always a big help. So.
And you mentioned also that it talks to Gradebook. I know you don't know exactly what that looks like just yet, but what are some of the things that, when you say that, for someone who doesn't know Schoolnet, what does that mean?
So Gradebook is an online, or through PowerSchool, it's a grading resource that I use in my old district, so I was very comfortable with using it here. But it allows you to input all of your grades digitally. And so when you give an assessment through Schoolnet or give an assignment through Schoolnet, when the students are done, they've completed the assignment or assessment, that grade gets automatically put into your grade book so that you can just pull it up and you can see. So there's no more inputting grades for the whatever it is you're giving to them. It automatically links over to that, which makes it, I mean, you don't lose things, let's be real, that happens sometimes. It definitely helps with the organization piece, but then students are able to log on to their own PowerSchool account and see what they have on the assessment seconds after taking it, which is great. It's making them more accountable for their own work because they're excited to see how they did.
Wonderful. And you said that even though some of your colleagues couldn't join us today, you said that you've discussed, obviously, the use of Schoolnet, and tell us a little bit about their feedback, and would you all recommend our district moving towards Schoolnet? Why or why not?
Okay. I know for the fifth grade team, we are using it, I mean, we use it weekly, and we're using it for language arts and math right now. We're still waiting for some more science content to be put up, but the passages that they have up there for language arts have been really helpful as we get into our 20-day plan and prepare for EOG. So it's giving us some more resources, to use with the kids. For math, we're doing like a task of the day, and we can pull a question right off of Schoolnet, and we know that the rigor is going to be appropriate to what we're asking them to do on assessments. We know that the content is going to be compatible with that as well. And then we're able to also differentiate and pull out some higher level questions and give it to those kids who are ready to move on, while we can also filter out some of those lower level questions and help our kids who are still struggling build that confidence, which is really great because you can pick and choose which questions go on your assessment or assignment and which do not, because there's quite a large bank already. I think my staff would be, we would recommend that DPS does use it, and as it's used more and more, we're excited to see how the question bank grows, because right now there's lots of resources, but the more use I think it has, the more questions we'll start seeing, and the more subject matter it'll cover.
Okay, that's wonderful. Anything else that you'd like to share based on your experience with Schoolnet at your school and with your team?
We're just, because testing is moving to internet-based work and just computer technology-based, we like that students are getting that practice. So we know that the science EOG for 5th grade is going to be computer-based assessment, and the kids are getting to practice that right now, which is great, especially for some of our kids who have a harder time adjusting with assessing. They're getting that practice, and so it's not going to throw them completely. So I think as education moves in a more technology-friendly direction, the resources we should use should also be moving there so students are better prepared and teachers are better prepared as well.
Excellent, Carrie. Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you sharing Mangam's experience, and hopefully the rest of your year will go well as you continue to use Schoolnet. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right.